You're listening to The Jacob Valk Show. He's breaking down the latest and greatest in sports as only he can. Follow him on Twitter at RealJacobValk. Here he is, Jacob Valk.
Hello, sports fans! Welcome to another edition of the Jacob Valk Show. I am Jacob Valk, and there is a lot of hockey to get to, not a lot of anything else, so I'm just going to jump right into the Rangers-Hurricanes game. Oh my goodness gracious, was I happy. As you know, I'm an Islander fan. I hate the Rangers. Seeing this loss put such a huge smile on my face. It really did. I'll give the Rangers credit. They played really well in the first period. Even though they didn't score any power play goals in the first period, they had 3 opportunities, including a really long 5-on-3 about midway through the first period. I actually thought they were playing well. Certainly better than they were playing on Saturday. Buchnevich with the stupid penalty 16 seconds into the game. They rebounded from that. Lundqvist looked sharp. The Svechnikov goals really weren't his fault. I mean, one of them was bad positioning, but overall, the Rangers played well in the first period, and then from the second period on, it was all Hurricanes. Andrei Svechnikov doing something that no one in Hurricanes history has ever done. Even going back to when they were the Hartford Whalers. Ron Francis, Eric Stahl, Rod Brindamore. Svechnikov did something that those guys have never done. He had a hat trick in a playoff game. It's going to be really fun watching his career develop as time elapses. But other than that, I mean, there's really not much I can say about the Rangers. They looked outclassed from the second period on. They looked like they didn't belong in the same universe as the Hurricanes. I mean, it was funny. My dad said to me, you know, it's almost like these guys shouldn't have been there in the first place. If the season had ended at the time of the pause, and we were just going by the 8 teams that were playoff teams in the Eastern Conference, the Rangers wouldn't have been in the playoffs. They were nipping at the Islanders' heels, but hey, the Islanders wouldn't have been a playoff team either. But they've looked really bad in these 2 games. You can't go 1 for 11 in power plays in a playoff series and expect to win. That doesn't work. The Rangers look lifeless. I mean, now Shesterkin has to start, but I don't know if he will. Can he? He hasn't been dressed in the past 2 games. I thought he was going to dress yesterday. He didn't. Is Alexander Georgiev that much better than Lundqvist? The answer is no. You either die with Lundqvist or you start Shesterkin. Starting Georgiev is a slap in the face to Lundqvist. The Hurricanes, for the most part, have not played well in this series. With the exception of guys like Svechnikov, Aho, Vatanen, and maybe Mrazek. Who else would you say has been great? I don't know if I'd call Mrazek great. I mean, the Rangers haven't made him sweat. I understand it's only 2 games, but so far the Hurricanes have looked beatable. The Rangers just haven't been able to take advantage of it. And there's a good reason for that. They've been lifeless. Their power play has been inept. 1 for 11. That can't be overstated. It seems like the Hurricanes are going to advance, and there's no one happier about it in the state of New York than me. Moving on now to Jets Flames, and I give the Jets a lot of credit. They were behind the 8 ball since they were without Line A and Scheifele. They had to jumble up the lines a lot. Mason Appleton being out too didn't help matters. Paul Maurice put out line combinations that I don't think he put out all year. But it worked. The Jets were motivated. This was a game that I really thought the Flames were going to win. I thought the Jets were going to come in really heated. They were going to be undisciplined. They were going to make stupid mistakes. And yeah, they had 6 penalties, but their penalty kill was fantastic. The Flames were 0 for 6 on the power play. Now, granted, the Flames' power play wasn't all that good, which is saying something because all throughout the year, they had a great power play, and the Jets had a lousy penalty kill. But I thought the Jets' penalty kill was great. Again, in a situation like that where you see one of your best players be hurt on a play that you think was a dirty play, I don't. But if you think it's a dirty play, it's very easy to lose your cool. But the Jets didn't do that. They executed their game plan. They played really, really well. They got a lot of contributions from unheralded guys. I mean, Jansen Harkins, Adam Lowry, and Nick Ehlers. I wouldn't have bet on Harkins and Lowry scoring. Harkins is a nobody. Lowry is really a nobody. Didn't play a lot this year. Ehlers, okay. Ehlers is a talented player. But the Jets saw their secondary players step up. Even a guy like Jack Roslovic had 2 assists. Roslovic is a young kid. And he stepped up. Give him credit. Give Hellebuck credit. This is shaking out to be one of the most interesting series of the qualifying round. As for the Flames, I don't think they played bad. I thought everyone played well. I half expected to see a guy like Tkachuk or Giordano, a tough player, trying to needle the Jets into doing something stupid. I mean, I had said yesterday, if I was the Flames, I would look to take the Jets off. And they didn't. They took the high road. You can't begrudge them for that, but all's fair in the playoffs. You can't worry about being nice. Game 3 is going to be really interesting. This series has really, really caught my attention. I didn't expect it to. It's going to be a very, very fun game to watch at 6:45 p.m. tonight. Moving on now to Capitals Lightning. And the one thing that would concern me about this game is the fact that the big guns for both sides didn't show up. Ovechkin was invisible. Kovalchuk was invisible. Hagelin was invisible. Wilson was invisible. Oshie was invisible. Sergachev was invisible. Tyler Johnson was invisible. Victor Hedman. Andre Palat. They were all invisible. I understand it's the first meaningful game they've played in over 4 months. And they have time to get their legs out from under them. But we've seen other stars get right back into the swing of things. It would concern me a little bit if I was John Cooper and Todd Reirden. But I'll give credit where credit is due. The goalies were great. Holtby and Vasilevsky both played great. Kuznetsov was all over the place. Eller was all over the place. Backstrom was okay, but I'd have liked more from him. He got the second assist on the Kuznetsov goal. That's why I didn't say he was invisible, but he could have been better. He wasn't awful. He wasn't invisible, but he wasn't great. For the Lightning, though, it had to be really good for them to see Kucherov, Point, and McDonough contributing. They all played really well. This game would concern me a little bit. If I was a fan of those two teams, I'd want my big guns to get going sooner rather than later. But it's hard to go crazy about it. Moving on now to Stars Golden Knights. And I gotta tell you, the Golden Knights are probably the most coachable team in the NHL. It doesn't matter who that coach is. He's going to get a lot out of him. Whether it's Gerard Gallant, Pete DeBoer, whoever. I can just imagine what DeBoer said in the second intermission. It's not over yet. You're only down 2. Take it 1 goal at a time. We're still in this thing. Meanwhile, everyone watching is thinking, oh, there's no way the Stars are going to blow this. Ben Bishop has been playing great all night. The Stars have their big guns cooking. Pavelski and Perry both scored goals. Heiskanen's been really good. Their defense has been great all year. There's no way that the Golden Knights are coming back, right? Bite your tongue. In the span of 5 minutes and 1 second, the Golden Knights scored 3 goals. If you went into the bathroom with a newspaper, if you catch my drift, you missed it. You missed the comeback. The Golden Knights played as well in that period than I've seen them play in their franchise's history. Even when they were in the Stanley Cup Finals, I don't think they had a period this good. I've heard some people say that these round-robin games aren't really important. You know, I understand that they're not as important as the actual series. But they still matter. Seeding matters. You want the top seed. Realize, there's a reseeding after every round. I'd rather face the lowest seed I could if I had my druthers. I'll tell you that right now. Great win for the Golden Knights. Lehner does need to play better, but it's his first game back. I can't kill him too much. This is a really good sign for Golden Knights fans. As for Stars fans, I'd be a little concerned. There's no way in the regular season that you would have blown that type of a lead. Half a period left. You're up by 2. No way Bishop is blowing that. Like I said, it would concern me a little bit. Moving on now to Canadiens, Penguins, and look, here was the issue for the Canadiens in this game. Carey Price was still their best player. Price faced 37 shots. You can't win when you're allowing that many shots. I don't know how much time the Penguins had the puck in the Canadian zone, and vice versa, but it had to be heavily in the Penguins' favor. They're not giving Price any support, and it's really, really a shame. Because he's been standing on his head. Even the 2 goals that he gave up weren't his fault. They were the results of great passes by Jake Gensel and Connor Sheary, respectively. And the Canadiens' defense just lost Crosby and Zucker in close on Price. That's inexcusable. I don't care who the goalie is. If guys like Crosby and Zucker are staring the goalie down, more often than not, Crosby and Zucker get the edge. They're that talented. The Canadiens just couldn't get anything going. And I didn't even think the Penguins were that great. They were 0 for 5 on the power play. Like I said, the 2 goals they scored were more of a result of bad play by the Canadiens. Malkin, invisible. Marleau, invisible. Hornquist, invisible. The Penguins weren't playing well. The Canadiens were just dreadful. It wasn't until the Canadiens were already out of it that they woke up. Kotkaniemi scoring that late goal. Be honest. Did you really think the Canadiens were going to score another one? In the 2 minutes and 10 seconds that they had left? Because I didn't. The Canadiens need to help their goalie out. They need to help Price out. They have a real chance of winning this series. The Penguins are not playing at 100%. For whatever reason, they're beatable right now. They're playing like a team that can be beat. Even though, on paper, the Penguins have the huge edge. They're beatable. They're not playing their best hockey. Fortunately for them, they're going up against a young and inexperienced Habs team. And I don't think they're going to be able to get the job done. Moving on now to Blackhawks Oilers. And the Oilers woke up. Give them credit. Connor McDavid was insane. I mean, his speed, his IQ, his vision, his shot. There's nothing he does wrong. When you have a hat trick with a period left to go, you're doing something right. I mean, 1 goal he scored, the second one was just speed around Ole Mata. And Mata is no slouch. He outskated Brandon Saad. Saad's no slouch. McDavid is without question one of my favorite players to watch in the NHL. Probably all of sports. Draisaitl too, although he was invisible in this game. But when you have McDavid cooking, Draisaitl can take a step back. The Oilers thoroughly outplayed the Blackhawks here. They had more opportunities. They were better defensively. They were better physically. The Oilers out-hit the Blackhawks 27-10. That's the thing with this Oilers team. We think of them as a speed team, as a finesse team. They have some guys who can make you pay. Guys like Josh Archibald, Matt Benning, and Adam Larson can get physical. The one bad thing for the Oilers, Mikko Koskinen did not look great. He gave up 3 goals. One of them was a crazy goal that pinballed around him. But I didn't think he was great. He has to start Game 3. The Oilers can't go back to Mike Smith. But I would just worry a little bit if I was Dave Tippett. And I thought Tippett thoroughly outcoached Jeremy Colleton. The way he used McDavid, making sure he wasn't on the ice with Taves and Keith, giving him the best opportunities he could to let McDavid do his thing. You can't ask for much more than that. If I'm looking at it from the Blackhawks side of things, I'm not sure if there's any coming back from this. I understand that they're tied 1-1, but I just haven't been impressed with how they've played. Game 1 was more a result of Mike Smith playing like garbage than anything the Blackhawks were doing great. Corey Crawford has been terrible. Do you go to Malcolm Subban? I have no idea. I'm not the biggest Subban fan in the world, but Crawford hasn't gotten the job done. Look, Colleton's a smart guy. He had that reputation as a player. I remember watching him with the Islanders. He wasn't that good, but the one thing I kept hearing was, oh, he's really smart, he's going to be a future coach. Well, those people were right on the money. Let's see what he can draw up in Game 3. The Blackhawks need to change something fast, or else they're going to be leaving Edmonton sooner rather than later. Alright, now it's time to preview today's 6 games, starting with Panthers-Islanders. I'll start with the Islanders. They have to keep doing what they did on Saturday. Play Islanders hockey. Do not get into a shootout. Stay disciplined. Fortunately, Barry Trotz isn't going to let this team do anything stupid. The Boychuk injury really doesn't scare me. Andy Green is probably going to slot in with Letty. I don't mind that. Play Islanders hockey. Play boring hockey. That's what the Islanders do. They actually play a very boring style of hockey. The thing is, it's been working. Varlamov has been great. Pelech and Pulock instantly finding their chemistry. Again, I mean, they played as well as you could have expected them to play in Game 1. And they need to carry that over into Game 2. Put your foot on the throat of the Panthers. If you win this game, it's over. As for the Panthers, it's really tough, but you've got to catch the Islanders on mistakes. They don't make a lot of mistakes, but if they turn the puck over in the defensive zone, or they allow odd man rushes like they did against Huberdeau, you've got to capitalize on them. Because you're not going to get a bunch of those opportunities. I understand that Bobrovsky hasn't been great, but this is an Islander team that doesn't have a great goal scorer. No one. Barzal, Nelson, Bailey, Lee, Pajot, Beauvillier, Eberle, whoever. They're not great goal scorers. Bobrovsky should be able to stop them. He's getting paid Like, he should be able to stop these guys. And one other thing for the Islanders, keep doing what you're doing on the power play. You scored a power play goal in Game 1, sight for sore eyes. Whatever you did on that power play, do it again. Because the power play for the Islanders in the regular season was lifeless. It was 24th in the league. Just go back to what you did on Saturday. Moving on now to Coyotes Predators. The best advice I can give both of them is to tighten up. The Coyotes never should have allowed the Predators to get back into that game on Sunday, but the Predators never should have been in that position in the first place. Both sides did not play well. The Predators had 43 shots. The Coyotes had 37. That's 80 shots in the game, combined. That doesn't work for me. Both sides need to tighten up. Get back to what got them here in the first place. The Coyotes were a great defensive team. They allowed the third least goals per game. They had the fifth best penalty kill in the league, and they were the most disciplined team in the league. What did they do against the Predators? They took 5 penalties and allowed 2 goals. I understand that rust is a thing, but you've got to stick with what got you here. Dance with the girl that brung you. As for the Predators, I mean, you committed to UC Saros. That was the right decision. A really tough one, but Rene was not playing well this year. I like Rene a lot. I don't think this year was his fault, but I'll grant you that he's not the Rene of old. The one thing I'll say is, there's a part of me that thinks the Predators are looking at this as house money. They never expected to get here. They fired Laviolette. It seemed like they were okay with being a lottery team, and then the coronavirus happens and they find themselves in a playoff series. Don't blow this opportunity. Everyone's starting at 0. The Predators have a chance to make a legitimate run at this thing. It's up to them to seize that moment. Moving on now to Blue Jackets Maple Leafs. I'll start with the Maple Leafs. The best advice I can give them would be find ways to get your stars going. The Maple Leafs, on paper, have one of the best offenses in the NHL. 3rd in goals, 6th in shots on goal, 6th on power play, 9th in shooting, 3rd on faceoffs. Even if I'm just going by the roster, Matthews, Marner, Tavares, Nylander, Barry, Hyman, Kapanen. How do you get shut out? How do you let Jonas Korpisalo shut you out? You've got to find a way to score quickly. If they're not up after the first period, I don't think they're winning this game. Because Korpisalo's confidence is going to be at an all-time high. We saw this last year with the Blue Jackets. They go up against a better team in the Lightning. They get a little sliver of momentum, and then they take it all the way to the house. The Maple Leafs can't let that happen. As for the Blue Jackets, I would say just keep doing what you're doing. You want to tell me you should have more offense? Hey, I'm with you there. Usually 2 goals, one with the goalie in the net and the other one with an empty net, isn't going to get the job done. But the Blue Jackets are not gonna outshoot the Maple Leafs. If they're gonna win games, it's gonna be 2-0 games, or 1-0 games, or 2-1 games. If it's a 4-3 game, the Leafs are winning it. I wouldn't get too crazy on the offensive end of things. They really have no offensive superstar. It's not Dubois, it's not Nyquist, it's not Werenski, it's not Bjorkstrand. They're going to win this game based on defense. They need to duplicate what they did on Sunday. It's just that simple. Moving on now to Flames-Jets. I mean, this is a really evenly matched series. I've gotten really into this series. Both sides need to get better on the power play. Yesterday, the Flames were 0 for 6. The Jets were 1 for 6. And if I go to Game 1, the Jets were 0 for 7. The Flames have a tendency to get a little crazy. They have players that can dive off the deep end. When you get those opportunities, you need to seize on them. As for the Flames, it's really not much different than what I said yesterday. The Flames are now the much more talented team. By far, it's not even close. Without Scheifele and Laine, the Flames need to use their skill to their advantage. Don't let the game come to you. Push the issue. Try to seize on these guys who are forced into unusual circumstances. That's going to be hard to do now because those guys are used to it, but that's the only way the Flames are going to win this game. Moving on now to Hurricanes-Rangers. The Hurricanes just need to not be stupid. I mean, it's just that simple. Don't think to yourself, we're 1 win away, we can afford a loss. No. That doesn't work. Don't get sloppy. Come out firing today, and that's it. You've won. If you get off to an early multi-goal lead, like 2-0, or 3-1, or 3-0, after 1, that's it. The game is over. The Rangers will not come back. As for the Rangers, they have a couple things they need to do. They have to start Igor Shesterkin. It's just that simple. I don't care if he's not 100%. Unless he's dying, he needs to start tonight. It can't be Lundqvist. The Rangers need a shot in the arm. I don't know what exactly is ailing Shesterkin, but whatever it is, David Quinn needs to pull him into his office, look him dead in the eyes, and say, "Can you play?" They tried Lundqvist. It didn't work. Not saying that it was the wrong decision, but now you're behind the 8 ball. You can't go back to Lundqvist. That doesn't work. That's a white flag. Start Shesterkin. And for God's sake, find a way to contain Andrei Svechnikov and Sebastian Aho. Let the Hurricanes' secondary pieces beat you. Because I don't think they'll be able to. I understand they did Game 1, but I don't think they'll be able to do it again. Especially with Shesterkin in net. Zibanejad needs to keep playing well. Panarin needs to keep playing well. The Rangers have a real chance of winning this game. They just need to make drastic changes. It's not going to be easy, but there is a formula there. Start Shesterkin and contain Svechnikov. Unfortunately for them, and fortunately for me, that's a lot easier said than done. The final game is Wild Canucks For the Wild, I would say just keep doing what you did on Sunday. You got a 3-0 shutout. Jared Spurgeon scored 2 goals. Your power play was perfect. Very early on, you scored 2 power play goals. I can't ask for much more than that. 3 seconds in, Kevin Fiala scores on a drawn-up play that any minor hockey goalie could stop. You want to tell me they should get more even strength opportunities? Okay, I'm with you there. But the one thing I'll say is, the penalties have come fast and furious in the restart so far. I think you can afford to not have a great even strength attack. I think you can get away with just having a good power play and nothing else. Obviously, you need to have a great penalty kill also, and you need to have a great goalie. And they got an otherworldly performance from Alex Stalock. You can't expect him to do that again. But the Wild played well defensively. The Canucks didn't get a bunch of great opportunities. Stalock played great, but the Wild defense really helped him. Guys like Spurgeon and Dumba and Suter really played well. I have no problem with the Wild just duplicating what they did on Sunday. I think it can work again, especially in a 5-game series. As for the Canucks, they need to pepper Alex Stalock. This guy will fold. Okay? He's not Martin Brodeur. He's not Patrick Waugh. He's not Terry Sawchuk. He's not Jacques Plante. He's not Grant Fuhr. He's not Billy Smith. He's Alex Stalock. He's been a career backup. I mean, Dubnyk laid an egg this year, so Stalock was forced into more games. And he played well. But, again, he's not great. If the Canucks get a consistent forecheck going, really make Stalock work, be aggressive on the power play, and just more than anything, have a constant barrage of shots going towards Stalock, they will win this game. I'll take Jacob Markstrom over Alex Stalock any day of the week. Tomorrow, it's going to be more of the same. I mean, it's playoff time. It's the best playoffs in sports, the Stanley Cup playoffs. I'm having a blast watching them. I hope you are too. Until tomorrow, I am Jacob Valk saying that George Brett could roll out of bed on Christmas morning and hit a line drive single.